Good afternoon and welcome to the Beaufort County Board of Education Business Meeting of December 10, 2024. I see we have Victor Ney online. I just want to be sure you can hear us. Can you hear us, Victor?
Yes, Madam Chair.
All right. Tonight's meeting is being conducted by a hybrid video conferencing and it's also being live streamed by the county channel. In accordance with safety and security guidelines, bags, backpacks, and purses are prohibited by the public at the Beaufort County Board of Education meetings. Requests for public comments participation will be accepted between 5 and 5:30 this evening by sending an email with your name, phone number, and topic to robin@beaufort.k12.sc.us. You'll receive a phone call during public comments where you'll be able to speak and address the board for a maximum of 3 minutes on issues within the board's domain. The forum is limited to 30 minutes. If you are in person, you may address the board for a maximum of 3 minutes on issues within the board's domain, and each speaker must fill out a public comment card. Please see the board clerk for a card. Requests for the second public comments will be accepted between 7 and 7:30 this evening. The second public comments will take place prior to adjournment no later than 9 p.m. The second forum will be limited to 15 minutes. In the event the board is not finished addressing all items listed on tonight's agenda, the board will reconvene tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. to finish the agenda items. Madam Secretary Middleton, could you please make a motion for us to go into executive session?
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chair. I move that we go into executive session for the following: receipt of legal advice regarding pending legal claims covered by the attorney-client privilege pursuant to South Carolina Code, annotated Section 30-4-70A2, discussion of negotiations incident to propose lobbyist contract renewal with Burr Foreman Law Firms pursuant to South Carolina Code annotated Section 30-470A2, employment matter personnel ratification report pursuant to South Carolina Code annotated Section 30-470A1, discussion of negotiations incident to propose amendment number 2 with Turner and Townsend Heery for 2025 Program Manager Staffing Plan and reimbursable expenses for the district's 2023 Bond Referendum Program and 8% capital projects pursuant to South Carolina Code annotated 30-40A70A2, and discussion of negotiations incident to proposed sale of property in northern Beaufort County and proposed purchase of property in southern Beaufort County pursuant to South Carolina Code annotated Section 30-4-70A2.
Do we have a second? It's also Sarah Roberts. Not close enough.
Sarah Robertson will be representing us with respect to the real estate matters.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any further?
Also, how about the negotiation of
The other matters?
the lot, yeah, the
Yeah,
other
the other matters.
Yes,
are
I will.
separately.
Yes, sir.
lobbyists too?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
that's correct, sir.
okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, all those in favor of going into executive session for the reasons listed, please say aye. Aye. And
Aye.
online? Okay, that's Victor.
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Any nays?
One, two, dang.
Okay, so the motion carries.
Actually, I'm gonna say no, excuse me, say no.
So the motion carries, I believe, 9-1-0. Ms. Gordon, I don't see, yeah, she's not, okay. She hasn't joined us yet. All right. Did you get that, Robin? Okay, so we now could go to conference room E. Okay. Good evening and welcome to the Beaufort County Board of Education Business Meeting of December 10, 2024. The board was just in executive session and we are now back in public session. And do we have any action as necessary or appropriate regarding the matters we discussed in executive session?
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chair. I move that the Board of Education approve the superintendent's recommendations for employment listed on November 1st, 2024 to November 30th, 2024 Personnel Ratification Report.
And Mr. Campbell second the motion. Any discussion? All right, we'll do our usual voting process. Those in the room will vote, and then the ones online will go alphabetically and say their last name before they cast their vote. So all those in favor of the employment report, please say aye.
Aye.
Nay, aye.
All right, so the motion carries unanimously.
Madam Chair, I move that the Board of Education approve Amendment Number 2 with Turner and Townsend Heery, which authorizes a not to exceed $2,829,940 for the 2025 staff plan.
Do we have a second? Okay, Mr. Dallas, any discussion? Mr. Smith?
Yes, in terms of this, I do have some concerns about the managing of these of these contract in terms of buildings and different things that are supposed to be done that in the past that has not been kind of done. Well, not in kind of that hadn't been done, and we've had some issues with this. So I'm kind of leery tonight on supporting this project. Thank you.
All right, there being no further hands up, those in favor of the amendment number 2, please in the room raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Online?
Nay, aye.
Any noes? Okay, so
If no,
the motion carries 10-1.
Madam Chair, that concludes all of the motions coming out of executive session.
All right, thank you, Madam Secretary. Next, we need a motion to approve our agenda.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Second by Ms. Gordon. Any discussion? All right, all in favor, please. Oh, Mr. Smith?
actually on the consent agenda, I would like to pull off
All right, all those in favor of approving the agenda? OE10, I guess will go under board business action or under superintendent's report.
Probably board business action is the
Okay,
right.
all right. So all in favor of the revised agenda, please say aye. Aye. Online?
Nay, aye.
All right, I think everybody approved that unanimously. Next on our agenda, we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Please be seated. The media has been properly notified. Next up, we have the May River High School Master Singers for our student performance tonight.
Oh.
Thank you so much. Next on our agenda, we have points of celebration. Dr. Rodriguez.
Good evening. This evening, under points of celebration, we begin with Character Ed for October. Our character education program was formed to support parents' efforts to develop good character in their children. And tonight, we're celebrating the Character Education Student of the Month, exhibiting the character trait of courage/tolerance. Courage is defined as doing the right thing in the face of difficulty and following your conscience instead of the crowd. Tolerance is defined as realizing that everyone is at varying levels of character development. October's Student of the Month for Northern Beaufort County is Thane Fagerstrom, a third grade student from Coosa Elementary. And here to introduce Thane is Principal Melissa Pender.
I want to first begin by thanking the board and the school district for continuing to recognize students for excellent character traits. Thane, we're here to celebrate you this evening. And in his nomination for Courage and Tolerance, a famous quote was inside of that nomination by Ralph Sockman. If you're familiar with him, he is a priest of over 30, many years, but over 34 years on a very famous radio talk show. And a famous quote of him that was placed inside the nomination was, "The test of courage comes when we are in the minority, but the test of tolerance comes when we are in the majority." And Thane's name was the first one that came to mind for courage and tolerance. He is accepting of others. He is tolerant of others when others might not necessarily be doing the right thing. He consistently is doing the right thing. He accepts everyone for who they are, for their differences and a likeness like him. He portrays tolerance in the classroom by continuing to work hard, even when there might be distractions from others. I think that's important. He shows leadership through being proactive and on task at all cost. He never gives up and always wants to do his best. His teacher states that Thane is a joy to teach and an integral part of their super learners and leader in the classroom. So thank you, Mrs. Lyles, for nominating Thane. Thank you, Thane's parents, for continuing to instill good character traits. And Thane, most importantly, congratulations to you.
Board meeting in the month of December, and we're not going back and forth. We have today the Southern Beaufort County. So also here with us tonight is October Student of the Month in Southern Beaufort County, Carla Rojas Ramirez. Carla is a freshman at May River High School, and here to introduce Carla is our school principal, Dr. Webb.
Good evening. We'll just take this off for a second. So, to introduce Carla would be hard to put into words. Carla really exemplifies what it is to work in education. We have some very tough days, especially at the secondary level. And some days it's difficult to come in and do what we are asked to do on an everyday basis. There's not a day that I'm in the building that I do not make it a point to go by and see Carla because she always puts a smile on my face. She always puts a smile on my face because she always has a smile on her face. And when I think about the challenges that our students face on a daily basis, I think about the challenges that she's been presented with in life. You'll never know it by going by to see her or to have a conversation with her. And yes, you can have a conversation with her. If you don't believe me, see her after this meeting. But we want to recognize Carla. We want to appreciate her. I was so excited when I got the news that she had gotten this award. And when she got the news, I was actually out of the building when she won the award for our actual school, not for the district. And the first thing I heard the next day when I was back in the building was that I missed our picture. So when she won the district award, I was very excited because I was able to tell her, well, I missed the first picture, but I won't miss this picture. So again, congratulations, Carla. We want to recognize you. We appreciate all that you do as a student of May River High School. You exemplify what it means to be a shark.
daily basis. Sorry. Oh, it's full. See, yeah, my fault. It's my fault. Yes, you're welcome.
What's that?
Can we put our friends in a picture? Sure.
Yeah, let me get this one. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
All right, come on.
Yeah. We need something on the ceiling to take them. Isn't that nice? Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Colonel. Good job.
What an awesome family.
Thank you, guys.
That is definitely love by me.
Thank you. Came up to the.
Thank you. I'm not sure if the microphone is going to make it through the evening, but let's see. Okay. Character education for November. We're also celebrating the student of the month for the month of November, and the character trait for November was respect and gratitude. Respect is defined as showing high regard for authority, other people, self, and country. Gratitude is defined as showing you are thankful for what others have done for you. And November's student of the month for Northern Beaufort County is Annabella Smith, a senior at Beaufort High School. And here to introduce Annabella is school counselor Tarsha Smith.
Was not expecting to speak tonight, so shooting from the hip here. I transitioned into the role of counselor a little over a year ago. And Annabella has been the model student. She has made my transition into the counseling field one that I'm proud of, and I'm proud of you and your accomplishments through everything that you've achieved. She demonstrates definitely the respect, hard work, despite everything that she has gone through. And it's a pleasure and definitely an honor to represent you here tonight and to see you get this award.
Next item this evening is youth and government. Beaufort County School District schools traditionally have an excellent youth and government extracurricular program, and each year those students make a strong showing at the annual Youth and Government Conference in Columbia. And this year was no different, with 4 of our high schools participating in the conference. And I'd like to ask Aaron Reichert, Bluffton High's Youth and Government Advisor, followed by James King, May River High's Youth and Government Advisor, to come forward and say a few words about their students and their performance in Columbia. If Kevin Rivas, Luke Hirota, Warren Facenda, William Zenzian, Brendan Hollis, Joseph Doan, and Chloe Wheeler would come up as well.
Thank you so much. We're so proud of our students, of course, for their amazing performance at Youth in Government this year. I feel honored to introduce the awards that they earned at this year's conference. First, I would like to start with the Outstanding Bill Award. This bill is given to students who write exceptional bills, pertinent issues, relevant issues, bills that can be debated, bills that are not just, the common everyday thing. What these students wrote about for their bill was that grocery stores should be carrying more locally grown products, and that bill was awarded, like I said, an Outstanding Bill Award. What I thought was really great was they, initially, the governor vetoed their bill, and I thought maybe that would be the end of it. But Saturday morning, we're all ready to go to the awards, and I'm looking at them, and they're all still dressed up in their suits. I'm like, what are you guys doing? They said, we have unfinished business. We're going to override this veto. And they did it. So their bill ended up passing, and they got the bill award for that. So super proud of them. That was Joseph Dewan over here, Luke Carota. Where's Luke? There he is. And Kevin Rivas right here. So good job to them. Another component of the conference is the lobbying. Chloe here, who is a senior, this was her first Youth in Government conference, and she actually was awarded Outstanding Lobbyist at this year's conference. So, and then to my left here is Tony Facenda. He was awarded the Outstanding Statesman Award in the House of Representatives. So that was also an amazing award. And then our two elected officials over here for next year's conference. Brendan Hallis was elected Speaker of the House for next year's conference. Yay. And William Zinzian was elected Secretary of State for next year's conference. So we are very, very proud of them. As you can see, they're kind of all over the conference, and I'm just super proud of them as their advisor. So thank you for having us, and thank you for recognizing them here tonight.
Well done.
I'll ask James King to come forward from May River High School, and Braden Mancini.
All right, so I'm not going to be as smooth as Dr. Rudd. I did actually have to write down my speech a little bit, but good afternoon, everyone. First, I'd like to take a second to thank the board for acknowledging student achievement and the Beaufort County School District as a whole for allowing programs such as the Youth in Government clubs to foster educational opportunities for all of our students. My name is James King, and I serve in several roles at May River High School, one of which is the advisor of the Youth in Government Club, and this was my first year serving as its advisor. I've had the pleasure of attending the YMCA Youth in Government Conference in the past as just a chaperone, which gave me a unique opportunity and perspective to watch our students rise to the occasion, lead by example, and help ensure success for our delegation. Right from the beginning, I told our club members that although I possess the ability to organize and oversee the club, I truly lacked the knowledge on how this club would work and would be relying on student leadership and tenure to run the club to its full potential. I think it's important as an educator to not fake it, but embrace our strengths and our weaknesses and allow the others around us to teach us what we need to learn. Several students stepped up to the challenge and led our delegation successfully, and one of those students was Braden Mancini. And without hesitation, Braden helped new club members understand the format of bill writing, as well as reviewed and made suggestions on bill submissions, quite a lot actually. I think you hold the world record in timing for how fast you can edit a Google Doc. Worked tirelessly, as our lobbyist, running around the city of Columbia to ensure bills were passed and speaking on topics. His former advisor, Mr. Campbell, has spoken highly of Braden and even suggested Braden be a member of leadership when I assumed the role of advisor from him. So Braden has overcome quite a lot throughout his high school career, but his love and knowledge of politics and the democratic process is as bright as his signature all-white suit and his briefcase. It is such an honor to work with a student as intelligent and dedicated as Braden. So with that being said, I'm thrilled to introduce and recognize Braden Mancini for his efforts and accomplishments being named YMCA's 2024 Outstanding Lobbyist. Let's go.
We're also happy to share that some exciting news about a recent milestone for Battery Creek High School. For the first time, Battery Creek participated in Youth in Government Annual Conference, and students did a wonderful job representing both Battery Creek and Beaufort County School District. A special congratulation goes to Maya Gentry, who earned a full scholarship to attend next year's conference. This is an outstanding accomplishment, and I'd like to take a moment and acknowledge and celebrate everyone who took part in this experience. To all the students who attended, congratulations to you, and your commitment and efforts have set a wonderful example for your schools. And I hope that you inspire even more of your peers to get involved in the future. The last point of celebration this evening is Beaufort County School District Middle School League champions. And tonight we're celebrating middle school champions for volleyball and football. And here to tell us more about the championships is District Athletic Director Carlos Cave. And I'll ask those that are here, Corey Thompson, Brianna Ford, D'Amica Taylor, Joshua Weidenman, Kyle Larson, Marion Smalls, to come forward at this time.
So good evening. It's again a pleasure to come before you to briefly acknowledge our middle school champions from this fall sports season. We will begin with volleyball, and I would like to say that I attended that championship game, and the level of play, it was just outstanding. I mean, it was like looking at a high-level high school match because of the skill level of these young ladies. With that being said, I'd like to acknowledge the game was played between Bluffton Middle and H.E. McCracken. Bluffton Middle were crowned champions that night. And the first award that I'd like to present is the Volleyball Player of the Year. And the Volleyball Player of the Year from Bluffton Middle is Ms. Brianna Ford. Next, we would like to recognize our Coach's Choice Coach of the Year. The Coach's Choice Coach of the Year is voted on by the coaches within the league, recognizing that individual whose team has showed improvement, and this year's recipient of that award is Ms. D'Amica Taylor, Coach's Choice Coach of the Year from Ladies Island Middle. And last but not least, our championship coach who led the Bluffton Middle Lady middle school championship volleyball team to the title for this season, Ms. Corey Thompson, Coach of the Year. And now we'll move on to football. The football championship was played between Hilton Head Middle and Well Branch Middle schools. It was an outstanding game. Hilton Head Middle was successful in gaining the title for the 24-25 school year. And we would like to acknowledge the Player of the Year. And that young man is coming from Hilton Head Island Middle School, and that is Mr. Kyle Larson. The recipient of the Coach's Choice Coach of the Year was the head coach of the team that unfortunately was not successful in that championship game, but they had an outstanding season with limited numbers. They were able to competed in a high enough level to play for the championship. And that head coach who was selected as Coach's Choice Coach of the Year is Mr. Marion Smalls. And finally, we would like to recognize the head coach of the championship Hilton Head Island Middle School football team. This coach led these young men successfully. They played an outstanding game in the championship. And the head coach is Mr. Joshua Wiedemann.
Want to just two other things. One, I want to thank our transportation team this evening for bringing Carla to us tonight this evening. So that was arranged, and appreciate their work to make sure that happened today. In addition, we have Ms. Franny Heiser on Zoom, I believe, who wants to do a recognition at this time. Franny, if you're on, go ahead.
It looks like on our screen.
Good evening, y'all. Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
I apologize. I was muted and didn't quite realize it. Thank y'all for giving me a few minutes. I know you've got a lot on your agenda tonight, but wanted to say just a couple of things, really in honor of Mr. Earl Campbell. Brian Nurick and I, our firms are co-sponsoring an event on Thursday. And unfortunately, Brian and I each have a conflict and will not be able to be available for that event. But I wanted to take a few minutes. And Mr. Campbell, I'm gonna try not to get choked up, but you and I go way, way far back. You were elected to the board on August of 1990 to fill a vacancy on the board. And the first bond issue that you and I were both part of was in 1991. And so we are 30 plus years working together on behalf of Beaufort County School District. And I thought it might be interesting and fun, and I think up on the screen, just to show a little bit of the things that have changed in this 30 years. Obviously, your assessed value is now over $2 billion more than it was 30 years ago. Your 8% capacity then, you couldn't even build an elementary school. And now your 8% capacity is knocking up on 200 million. Your annual debt service obviously has grown as the amount of debt. Your enrollment has jumped by 8,000 students. In your general fund budget, I note then, this information was from 1991. You dipped into the fund balance a little bit because you had revenues of 42 million and expenditures of 45 million. But today, that would be a rounding error, given the size of your general fund budget. And the number of employees obviously has jumped significantly as y'all have grown. In your time, Mr. Campbell, between all the debt that we have done, all of the projects we have undertaken for the school district, with your bond anticipation notes, tax anticipation notes, and refundings, of course, where we save your taxpayers money, you have approved approximately $2 billion worth of debt in this last 30 years. That's an amazing legacy, but those are just the numbers. I do want to say on just a more personal level that I probably attended 100 of y'all's board meetings in all these years, and I have enjoyed every one of them. I promise you, I've enjoyed every one of them. But I have observed over the years, Mr. Campbell, that you are not someone that always has to speak. That you speak when you think you need to for the benefit of your school district and the students in your school district. I compare you to E.F. Hutton, that old commercial, when E.F. Hutton talks, people listen. I have been personally impressed by the work you have done for your school district. And I know that good things will happen with the school district in the future, but you have contributed directly in putting the school district on a great trajectory. So I just wanted to say those words. Brian Nurick is sorry he can't be with me here right now tonight to speak to you, but we both thank you for your support and for the balance of the school board. Anything that we can do to continue to help y'all to maybe come up with numbers kind of like this in the next 30 years, please let us know.
Thank you, Franny, for such nice recognition. And thank you, Earl, for your dedication and service of 34 years to this board and district. And our students are so much better off because of your service.
Thank you.
Thank y'all very much. I hope the rest of your meeting goes well.
Thank you. And Franny, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
We go a long ways back, so I'm gonna miss you.
Yes,
but thanks
sir.
again.
Well, you will always be able to find me. And I think that there is a reception in the school district next Thursday, not this Thursday, but next Thursday. And I'm going to be able to be there. So I'll see hopefully all of y'all at least one more time, and certainly one more time before Christmas.
Okay, thank you.
Thank y'all.
All right, that completes celebration recognition. So we're now on to our first public comments, and our first speaker is Devontae Singleton, whose topic is Riverview Charter School, public recognition of outgoing and incoming board members, and recognition of school partners.
Chair, Dr. Rodriguez, and esteemed members of the board. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak tonight. It is truly an honor to address you all on behalf of Riverview Charter School. First, I just wanted to extend my heartfelt congratulations to the newly elected members of the board who will be joining in January. Your commitment to serving the students and families of Beaufort County is deeply appreciated, and I look forward to working alongside you to support the success of our learners. And to those of you who are not returning, Madam Chair, Madam Secretary, Mr. Campbell, I just wanted to send out my heartfelt thank you and just acknowledging all that you have done over the years to support Riverview Charter School, from where the school started and where we are currently as well. We know that it takes the work of a team to be able to make sure that all of our students are well. So I just wanted to thank you guys, especially those who are not returning, for all that you have done for Riverview. In addition to that, I just wanted to take an opportunity to recognize and express my gratitude to several of our schools for their growing partnerships with Riverview. Principal Terrence and the staff at Robert Smalls Leadership Academy, thank you for their invaluable friendship with Riverview and for their generosity. Last night, we were able to host our first boys and girls home basketball game at the new Robert Smalls Gymnasium. And when I tell you, the turnout was absolutely incredible. It truly showcased the power of community and collaboration, and I was so excited for my students to be able to see what potentially could be coming for Riverview in the coming years as well. Also to the school teams at Ladies Island Middle School and St. Helena Elementary, thank you for being partners for our athletic teams as well. Our working relationships, as I've mentioned beforehand, has truly been built on fostering a sense of unity and shared purpose across our schools. And so for that, I deeply value the spirit of cooperation and mutual support. Looking ahead for the board, I am thrilled to extend a warm invitation again to you all to join us in March for our Beaufort Twilight Run. As you know, this is going to be our 15th annual run for that, and that is a 5K. For those of you who are interested in running that, let me know. I am not volunteering to train you, but I can certainly walk alongside you as well. But that is certainly going to be a fantastic opportunity for us to connect with our community, and I would certainly love if our current members of the board, new members of the board, Dr. Rodriguez, your team, if you will join us for that celebratory effort. And then finally, I just wanted to take an opportunity to just send a kind message for all of you who participated in our first core value parade and recognition ceremony, and those of you who sent your kind words. That event was truly a celebration of our students by our teachers and staff in honor of recognizing those students who also uphold the core values that make Riverview such a unique and vibrant school. Your support truly does mean the world to us. I am looking forward to working with you all in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Mike Hagan. His topic is the FOIA request denied and Willow Run MOU.
First, I thank you for taking my comments, and it's refreshing to come to a meeting where kids are the priority and kids are honored. That, notwithstanding what I have some concerns about. First, I want to make it clear we're not opposed to a new school. It's near us. Schools are great things for the neighborhoods. But in July of '24, the district executed an MOU with the town of Bluffton regarding the possible development of school facilities on a portion of a tract known as Willow Run, which is directly adjacent to Rose Hill. In November, I requested a copy of that MOU and was denied, saying that the closing date of the purchase had not been completed. The MOU relates to the purchase, but it's not necessary for the purchase. It entirely different set of circumstances. On that, I'm sure we're going to continue to disagree. Most of you got a copy over the weekend of a email with concerns that I had with regards to that. But there's a couple of things I think that the district needs to keep in mind as they go forward with this. Number one, the district does not want to become a facilitator of a road, two roads, that thousands have signed a petition against, and the Beaufort County Council has actually denied funding for, based on the number of people who were opposed to those two roads. You do not want to appear that you are facilitating the building of those roads in connection with the school. Number two, the exchange of property with the Bluffton town. That sounds great on the surface, but I would hope that the district is assured that whatever you pay for the property with the development rights, you at least get that much back when you sell those development rights to the town of Bluffton. In other words, you don't want to get shorted on your end of that deal. And the exchange of property. What guarantee do you have that that property is going to be used by the town of Bluffton for affordable housing? They retain the rights that they could put the hotels over there. Totally different than affordable housing. You need a better guarantee going into that. Lastly, the land that's under the foothills conservation, you need to look at that and find out if that is actually in the trust or they're just holding on to it, trying to decide whether they are going to resell it to development. Because there was a phony baloney criminal case down in Florida over the previous holder of those conservation easements. I would just ask the board and the district as they go forward, look at those things closely. Thank you.
Thank you. Concludes our first public comments. So next up is the legislative update from our lobbyist Lynn Stokes Murray, who's the Director of Government Relations at Burr, Foreman, McNair. Welcome, Lynn.
Hey, good evening, everyone. And Shannon Bruning is with me. She's in the background. I'm not sure if you can see her. And I'm so sorry we couldn't be with you guys live. We got stuck on flight travel today back from Jacksonville. So we're in the office. But I did want to say, I don't know if Chloe and Baden, and I hope I got his name correctly, are still there. But for their lobbying skills at their age, if they're looking for a job after they graduate from college, Shannon and I would be happy to interview them both. I am so tickled to hear when young people are interested in our world and what we do for government affairs and how we impact our world with policy. So just congratulations to them. That was just really sweet. I don't have a lot for you guys tonight. I will tell you that we met an organizational session last week, the House and the Senate. The House has pre-filed 600 bills. There are more to come tomorrow, and well, actually, they pre-file on Thursday again. The Senate pre-files tomorrow. We've been through them today. We've identified probably about 70 bills that y'all are going to be interested in. So, Robin, apologies up front, but they're coming your way. One, I did want to recognize because I think someone had a question about a pending piece of legislation from last year that related to board consolidation. That legislation is dead. When we adjourned sine die in June, everything that was left that wasn't enacted would have to be reintroduced. But there was a bill introduced by Representative Neil Collins, who's from the upstate, and it's House Bill 3470, and it does require that by July of 2027 that there be consolidation. And that would include for you all, as it relates to you all, particularly Beaufort, Colleton, Hampton, and Jasper counties. So we're going to be following this very closely as we come back into session on January the 14th. I suspect that there would not be a whole great deal of support for doing that. And I think this is a difficult matter in general. So we will be following it, meeting with your chairman, Shannon Erickson, who obviously is from the district. And wow, you guys are killing it on Beaufort County representation. And you've got 3 committee chairs. Beaufort County is the end all to be all right now because you've got so many of your local legislative delegation that is in the leadership, and that is wonderful for all of us. So I am happy, Dr. G, to answer any questions anybody has. Like I said, we've got these pre-files coming to you. You should get them tomorrow or Thursday. And again, more to come as they are pre-filing again tomorrow and on Thursday.
The House Bill 3470, what's the reasoning behind that?
Gosh, I wish I knew. I think Representative Collins has been sort of a fan of consolidation, probably because of money. And I think that in his area in the upstate, we've seen some consolidations, but it encompasses 16 different districts that they're rolling up. I don't anticipate that that's going to be particularly well received. No offense to Mr. Collins, who's a great legislator and a good friend, but I suspect that it is truly a money issue. But you guys are doing great things on your own, and I just hope that we can continue your success individually. And the last thing that I wanted to say, unless anybody has any questions, it has just been such a pleasure to work with you, Mr. Campbell, and get to know you through the course of the years that we've been together and representing the school board. And Dr. G, we're really going to miss you, and hopefully we will see you on the other side, both in different roles, and look forward to it. So congratulations to you both, and thank you so much for your service.
Well, okay. Thank you, Lynn, because I know you had travel difficulties today. So thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Y'all have a great night.
Next on our agenda is the chair's report. 7 board members attended the South Carolina School Boards Association Legislative Conference and Delegate Assembly this past weekend in Charleston. And Beaufort had 7 votes at the assembly, which is based on student enrollment in our district. So all 7 attendees were delegates. The legislative proposals that are voted on at the assembly become the 2025 South Carolina School Boards Association legislative agenda for the General Assembly. I particularly enjoyed 2 of the roundtable discussions during the conference, the one featuring the key state legislative leaders, which included Senators Hutto and Martin, and then House Representatives Gillum, Rivers, and Vaughn. And Mr. Rivers served on this board years ago. And also I enjoyed the one that had the representatives from the various state organizations, the South Carolina Association of School Administrators, the Department of Education, the South Carolina Education Association, the Palmetto State Teachers Association, and also the South Carolina High School League. The new SCSBA president, Charles Govan, began his 1-year term, and he gave an excellent address to the membership. My next report is part 2, and this is the reflection item. As the year end approaches, I'm finishing 8 years as a Beaufort County Board of Education trustee, as I was elected in 2016 and then re-elected in 2020, with 6 years serving as the board chair, and I would like to make a few remarks. When I began my first term of office, I brought my knowledge and experience gained as a Beaufort County School District parent for 20 years, a practicing physician and a small business owner to the dais. My focus then and now was to be fiscally responsible while making student instruction and academic performance the priority. Over the course of my service, the board has transitioned into a higher functioning body overseeing our county public schools. Our accomplishments include employing a highly effective and engaged superintendent, now recognized as the 2025 South Carolina State Superintendent of the Year, receiving overwhelming voter support, 69% and 72%, for 2 school bond referenda, totaling $783 million to to make much-needed facility and safety improvements to our schools, and increasing teacher compensation to recruit and retain the most qualified professionals. Our board has also successfully navigated difficult challenges in a manner that ultimately contributed to our overall success and better outcomes for our students. These challenges included the uncharted territory of educating students remotely during a global pandemic, our book challenges. We handled 97 school library book challenges by improving the opt-out form for parents to place the ultimate decision-making in their hands and follow the South Carolina Department of Education model policy, and we added a community member to each book committee. For review of these contested books over an 18-month period, some books were removed from circulation and dozens more were moved out of the middle schools. We also had the challenge of public aggressiveness at our meetings. And with advice of legal counsel, we revamped our public comment policy at board meetings, protecting First Amendment rights of the speakers while improving safety and order for all. I wish the board much success going forward. New members will bring new ideas and experiences to the table. I urge the board to keep the focus on solutions and away from divisive rhetoric. Provide the superintendent with the tools and resources he needs to be successful, so our children can receive a high-quality education and become productive adults. It has been a privilege and an honor to represent my constituents at the dais. I have many people to thank for our successes, including my campaign managers, my wonderful campaign team volunteers, those that donated to my campaign, of course, my board colleagues, the superintendent and his staff, the South Carolina School Boards Association, and my friends and family. My husband of 39 years has been especially patient and understanding of my time spent fulfilling my school board duties. I'm looking forward to spending more time with him and the rest of my family, including our infant granddaughter. And I hope to meaningfully contribute to public education in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda are our committee reports. We have academics, Chair Chloe Gordon reporting.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That was a very heartfelt speech. Thank you so much for your words and commitment to education.
Thank you. And I want to say one thing is a lot of times people don't realize all that we've done, and that's why I wanted to summarize it. I wanted people to hear what this board has done and what only we could do as a collective group. But thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow. I don't know how to go behind that. The academics committee met with the chair, with at the long beach. Discipline. And Ms. Audria Murray presented OE 14, Learning Environment and Treatment of Students. Both OEs were submitted to consent agenda. And again, I thank you all. I thank my colleagues, especially our Christmas before Christmas meeting. Been a pleasure working with all of you, Ferguson team and the community, for giving us this opportunity. But again, for Dr. Stratus and her team for giving this committee summary tonight. Thank you.
Also, on OE 14 was with Mrs. Part of the part of the performance that evaluation and not performance evaluation, but a part of the OE that Mrs. Murray was giving us in terms of the resources that could be offered, and to be specific, we are moving with this, but we're waiting on her, Dr. Scrousen, Dr. Stratos and Mrs. Murray said that they will get back to us on this in terms of there's a number of the resources in terms of students who may feel that they may want to hurt themselves. And we talked about having a number because we're seeing a higher intick of students who are trying to self-hurt themselves and throughout the country and also and throughout the county, in Beaufort County. So with that being said, we're looking for them to bring us some information back on that to let us know how we can activate those things and how we can better and improve as a district, and also offer our students and make them feel comfortable with using those resources and getting familiar with those whenever they may need those services. So we'll be looking forward for them to bring that information back to us as well. That's something that we discussed as well at that meeting. Thank you.
Does that conclude your report?
That does, and thank you for the information.
Do we have any questions?
The next on our agenda is finance.
Chair Colonel Guyer reporting.
Thank you, Madam Chair. December 5th, 2024, the Finance Committee met. And this is the following summary. Ms. Tonya Crosby presented the following reports: the monthly $100,000 report for the month of October and the transparency report for the month of October. Mr. Brian Nicholson of Maudlin and Jenkins audit firm provided a presentation of the recently completed FY 2024 annual financial audit. I'd like to call Ms. Crosby up to brief the board on the results of the audit.
Evening. Unfortunately, Mr. Nicholson couldn't be with us this evening. He was at the Finance Committee meeting and was able to provide a presentation. So Mr. Nicholson is the lead on the current team of Maudlin and Jenkins. As you may recall, a board meeting or so ago, I mentioned that the audit team has been shifted from the Macon office to the Columbia office. So it's a brand new team, all new staff, and things went very, very well this year. We actually issued the audit. It was due on Monday, December 2nd, right after the Thanksgiving holiday. We issued it and posted on the website. All materials were to the State Department by the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. So we were very fortunate. We had it almost a week in advance of the previous year. So that was it was very stress-free this year for us, instead of delivering it at 8 p.m. on the evening of it was due. So we were very grateful for that. The audit went very well. The audit firm deemed our financial reporting to be a immaterial or unmodified or clean opinion, and that makes 23 consecutive years of no audit findings on our BCSD audit reports. So just a couple of highlights. We're able to maintain the fund balance percentage right around the 20% mark, which allows us some flexibility to address major issues if there were weather events and there was a need for an emergency source of funding. So that is something that's very significant for us as well this year. So we were able to maintain that by building some into the fund balance as our budget has increased. So equivalent of about 20% we were able to maintain. It's important to maintain that fund balance percentage because our credit rating agencies look at it, and we are getting ready to issue bonds for the first round of this next week. We'll be issuing bonds. The first set of long-term bond obligations that in the 2023 bond referendum that was recently passed in November. So that's important that we actually have a rating call on Monday and one on Tuesday as well. So that's critical for that work. So things went very well this year, and simultaneously with this audit, we were doing the Beaufort Jasper Academy for Career Excellence audit as well, which also had no audit findings. Thank you.
I think it's very important to point out to the board and to the public that an annual audit of a $750 million budget is a substantial amount of work. And to have that, and it takes months to do this, and to have that come through with no findings noted for the 23rd consecutive year is something that we should be very proud of and thankful for our finance department. Mr. Crosby also provided executive summary on the recently completed FY25, that's this year's budget book, which is now available on the district website. She also presented the FY26 budget calendar and pointed out major milestones. The board will typically discuss its budget priorities in January of each year. And as requested by the Finance Committee Chair, a cost center report was provided by the staff for each of our schools. The staff was asked to summarize that into a one-page report for future distribution to the board, but the complete packet is available in your handouts tonight. Next meeting is on a date in February to be determined once committee assignments have been made. Are there any questions?
Thank you. Okay. Next up, we have operations reporting, and that chair is Carlton Dallas.
First item is going to be about a naming of the media center at Beaufort Middle School. And I learned a lot about a lady named Carol Ingram and all the tremendous impact she's had on not only the school, but the community. And the energy that those two ladies and Mr. Otting have shown in terms of supporting what the principal is going to speak about, as well as the other lady and Mr. Otting. So would you like to come forward and speak and share your comments?
Well, good evening.
Hi.
I am always grateful to come before the school board when it means I still have a job. So I do appreciate you all for seeing us this evening. One of the things that you have to remember when you've been passed the torch is to always honor the person who initially lit the flame. And that person was Carol Ingram for us. To be in our school is to see a legacy. And one of the things that we hold dear in our building is to honor legacies while embracing our future. So we don't try and rebrand so much as we try to enhance and improve. In 2000, Carol Ingram became the first principal of Beaufort Middle School. That was a program that was a continuation of the humanities program. And over those 18 years that she was in that building, she was a bastion of the arts. She was an advocate for students, a grower of leaders, myself included. I was talking on the phone with my twin brother last night, and I mentioned that I was coming to the board meeting, and he was like, "You know, she was my teacher, right?" And I said, "Yes, sir." She was mine too. And I don't think that Carol would want me to say that, but in so many ways, she was our mentor, our leader, and our visionary. She often forged ahead with her gentle Southern spirit for those things that she was most passionate about. So when the media specialist and I were in the hall one day, we were walking through, and she said, "I've been meaning to talk to you." And I said, "You know what? I've been meaning to talk to you too." And we got onto the conversation about the media center and that it was supposed to be finished soon. And what do we do next? And almost at the same time, we were talking about how to honor Carol through that. And we came up at almost the same moment with, we need to name it for her. And we get choked up because if anyone has a legacy that endures, and please understand, Carol Ingram is still very much alive and well and still very active in the community. And as I stated to the facilities team last week, the committee last week, I would rather be sitting here and celebrating that legacy rather than memorializing that legacy. And so for that, it is my distinct honor, and it is something that I hope that you all will approve tonight, that you will allow us to rename our newly renovated media center for Carol Ingram as a lifelong learner, and that you'll allow us to call it our lifelong learning center so that anyone who's in those walls understands that impact and the importance of making your mark.
Thank
She's
you.
like, I'm good.
Would the lady from the media center, would you like to say a word, ma'am?
I had not prepared anything, but we are going through a renovation, which we are so excited about. It's already looking beautiful, not quite done. But so I guess, I don't know, I'd heard another school or something came up about a school that, the Betty Jones, library. And I thought, oh, we could name ours. And of course, there was no other person. I mean, except for maybe this person, but I don't think that you can do it for the current principal. But she hired me. I was a parent at Beaufort Middle School, and Carol supports literacy throughout her entire career. And she was also South Carolina Middle School Principal of the Year. We got Palmetto Finest under Carol Ingram, and she just is an example to all educators. I know how much she means to Dr. Thompson and everyone that's worked for her. It just adores her. And several people had contacted me. Someone called me. They said, I heard what you're doing. I mean, when is it going to be? So people are very excited about her. She has a lot of loyalty from her former employees and former parents. And I just can't think of a more wonderful way to walk into the library every day, knowing that we've honored a wonderful person and we'll continue that, legacy of literacy and learning.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm so sorry. I did not get your name. What is your?
Amy Trask.
Trask?
Yes,
Pleased to meet you, Ms. Trask.
Yes.
And I'd just like to say that both Principal Thompson and Ms. Trask have always been so passionate about Ms. Ingram. And everyone who has spoken on behalf of this has basically exuded that support, love, and admiration for her. So the third person who's been very supportive of this is a gentleman who first informed us and others, myself and others, about the opportunity here. So, Mr. Otting?
Well, I mean, I'll just say that when I first started the school district, Carol Ingram is one that reached out to me, and I look at a mentor and bringing me along. But as far as this motion that you have before you, I mean, this has been supported by the operations committee. The SIC voted to have the naming of the media center to Carol Ingram, and it was voted unanimously. So with that, I'll take any questions you may have about this.
Okay. If no further questions, I'd like to make a motion. I move that the Board of Education name the Beaufort Middle School Media Center after Ms. Carol Ingram in honor of her service to the Beaufort County School District as the building's first middle school principal.
And I'd like to second.
Okay, it was a toss-up. Who got it? Okay.
I give it to her, the last one.
I would just like to say that when I started on the school board, Miss Ingram was the principal there at Beaufort Middle. She is the absolute consummate professional. And the school was always beautifully decorated with artwork, just gorgeous artwork. And she wonderful as a school board member, showing me around as a new member, and just the consummate professional.
Thank you very much. All right.
Oh, I've seconded it, so
Oh,
I passed the gavel.
Vice Chair.
I'll just say I did everything that the chair said on that about Ms. Ingram. She's been a very good person, and the community love her, and they still always talk about her. So I appreciate that. Thank y'all for that.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
So we'll go ahead and call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Online?
Aye.
Victor left us. He put it in chat.
That motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Well done. Okay, Madam Chair, we have a second opportunity that we'd like to have Ms. Otting return to the podium to assist us with. And this is about Stewart Point easement. And Ms. Otting, would you like to share some details about that?
Yes, this is a road improvement that the county is undertaking. This has been brought to the Operations Committee a couple of times. The first time it was brought forward, the question was about whether or not the school district wanted to receive any funding for this from the county. At that time, it was decided no. What the school district did require is that the fence be replaced with a like new fence. And so what this is for is actually a pathway or sidewalk along Stewart Point Road. This is in front of Well Branch Middle School and Well Branch Elementary School. There's a new development across the street, so it'll help those kids leaving that development get to both schools. So with that, the easement that they have in front of you has been presented. We have asked for some more details as far as laying out the actual permanent section and the temporary section, and they are going to be providing that for us. It has not been provided to date. So that is why the motion is for the superintendent to finalize the easement and then sign it. So are there any questions?
Okay, then with that, we'd like to, I'd like to make a motion that I move that the Board of Education authorize the superintendent to negotiate and finalize the Stewart Point Road easement as presented.
All right, and then second by Ms. Gordon. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Hey,
Online? Any nays? And any abstentions? All right, the motion carries unanimously.
Thank you all. And Madam Chair, the last item that we have that we'd like to request a motion on is the May River temporary easement. And Mr. Otting will give us some detail on the importance of moving this forward.
Yes, sir. Thank you. This is at the new May River Elementary School. At the back of the school, the town of Bluffton is requiring us to tie into the new development to the east of us, which is the lakes, and that's for emergency access. This will be a gated road so that in the event that there is something on New Riverside Road blocking emergency vehicles from getting to the school, they would be able to come through the lakes and come to the back of the property, and that could actually serve the elementary or the high school. Along with that is the Beaufort Jasper Water and Sewer has asked us to tie into their water and sewer system. This will actually improve our water system as well, so we're in favor of that. So with that, if there's any questions, be glad to answer them for you.
Okay, seeing no questions, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion. I move that the Board of Education authorize the superintendent to finalize negotiations and sign the May River Elementary School easement.
Okay, second by Dr. Carr. Any questions or comments? Mr. Smith?
How much is it going to cost us?
In construction dollars you're talking about?
Period.
Oh, I mean, there is no cost for the actual easement itself, but to construct it, there's some cost. I'll have to get that for you. I will say it is, the town of Bluffton does require us to do this. It's contingent on our getting our permit to build May River Elementary School.
Okay.
All right, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Hey,
Hey. All right, I think it passed unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, Board. Madam Chair, at this point, we'd like to go into and cover a couple of items that were discussed at our last meeting on December the 4th. We had a review of the 2019 referendum, and we'd like to note that it is coming very close to closure. We have a remaining contingency at the end of November of $918,014. Also, we'd like to note that in terms of closeouts, which has been an area of emphasis for Mr. Otting and his team, as well as the finance group, there have been a total of 214 financial commitments that have been completed to date. There's still a lot of energy around what process improvements can be identified and executed to ensure we don't replicate that in the 2023 referendum. All of the items that are on the construction are green. And so those are moving forward. In terms of the 2023 financial, we have achieved collectively in the organization almost 40.46% of the funds are paid and committed. We still have a program contingency remaining of $11.4 million, and we have a project level contingency remaining of $13.9 million. Again, the projects are green. There was a ribbon cutting ceremony at River Ridge Academy on November the 20th, and we're looking for a groundbreaking ceremony at May River that will be sometime in January. Date and to be concluded shortly and notified. We then progressed to the custodial update. And one of the things we'd like to note that is that Mr. Otting and his team actually did an innovative thing by expanding the number of suppliers that they had. And what that has done is that has allowed some comparatives between the three suppliers, providers, and that also allows some easy transfer of best practices between those three suppliers and us. And it's been used very effectively by the operations group, that knowledge to help the third supplier. And the self-motivation, we've seen that improve as well. They don't want to be last. So that's one of the things that's happened. Kudos to the operations team for that. In terms of some of the innovation, and just along those lines, Mr. Otting and I have discussed taking a look at some strategic areas. One of those is energy. When you look at the energy in the finance committee, thank you for listing in a single sheet all of the key accounts by school. We went through all of those. And when you look at some of the big ticket items, energy is one of those. Not only energy, but we looked at maintenance, those types of things, cleaning services. And it's very telling. So what we've asked and conferred with Mr. Otting about is, and the rest of the Beaufort County School District, is to look at strategically what can we do in the area of energy without having the blinders on. Not saying we have blinders, but just saying make sure we don't allow that to happen. So you look at things such as the elimination of the R22 Freon and the 410A. That's going to be fun. Basically, it's transition out. So that's going to create a tremendous demand for people who are in that arena. We've seen it in 2000 during the Y2K, where all of a sudden it was very difficult to get people who were technology and computer literate that could help ensure your company transferred over. So one of those things is something that we've asked Mr. Otting to take a look at over the next 12 months in conjunction with finance so that we can come up with something strategically. I also have tested a robot that has machine learning. So as it actually cleans the floors, it can identify areas of improvement. So that is included in your packet. So I would like to highlight that and note. One of the other things that has occurred is the days to completion for both North and South have concluded. But also one of the watch points that Ms. Majors noted for us is to make sure that the projects in progress don't balloon up, because that could distort the time to completion. So the team is doing a lot of good analytics that are very effective in helping us hopefully maintain and avoid some of the blips that potentially could occur. And then the last thing, Mr. Lawton presented on the furniture, a 10-year plan of where the furniture will need to go. And that's very good for planning purposes. And that too is in your packet. So all in all, would like to compliment the team for all of their effort and their basically attempts to make sure innovation is still very top and center. So with that, I'll open up to any questions.
Thank you. So thank you.
Thank you for
Mr.
my
Gallo.
Christmas present then.
Next on our agenda is the superintendent's report, student achievement, the school plan approval.
Good evening, Madam Chair and board members. This evening in your packet, you have the school turnaround plans for our schools that meet the definition of underperforming. The three schools that are listed as below average are Port Royal Elementary, Ladies Island Middle School, and Battery Creek High School. Those principals came before you last month to answer questions and submit their plans and have discussions with you. At this point this evening, all we're doing is requesting and submitting their plans for approval of the board so that they can go to the Office of Transformation Specialists so that it can be approved for the state. And I'll answer any questions that you have regarding the plans.
Mr. Smith?
So for clarification, basically, the plans that they bought before, the plan, basically what they told us before is basically you need to just not come to get a motion off of what they told us from the last meeting that occurred. Is that my correct understanding?
That's correct. They came and presented to you all of the information, the things that they were putting in place at the school. They've completed the official plan, which you have in your packet this evening, and we just need to get approval so that we can submit it to the state.
These are specific templates that the state requires them in. So that's what you see in front of you.
The comprehensive school improvement plan.
And then they require board approval to move them forward to.
All right.
Any questions?
Yep, so we need a motion.
Hey, I'm gonna wing this. Madam Chair, I move that we approve the school plan approvals that were previously presented to us. For which schools?
Port Royal Elementary, Ladies Island Middle, and Battery Creek High School.
Port Royal Elementary, Ladies Island
Middle School, and Battery Creek High School.
Battery Creek High School.
Okay, and a second was made by Mr. Campbell. Any further discussion? Mr. Smith?
I just want to say, when they come, I just feel more comfortable approving that whatever we may need to do on that time when they come. So just so that there is no misinterpretation.
I understand.
It's clear as possible. Thank you very
Understood.
much. I appreciate that. Something that I will do, but in the future, thank you.
All right. All those in favor to approve the school plans for those three schools, please say aye. Aye.
Hey, I.
All right, I think everybody voted yes, so it was unanimous. There's 10 of us. All right. Thank you, Dr. Rodriguez and Dr. Lee. So next on our agenda are our board business items, and we'll add OE 10 as the fourth one under there. So, Madam Secretary.
This is my favorite part. Madam Chair, I move that the Board of Education accept the donation from National Christian Foundation in the amount of $7,000 for Red Cedar Elementary School to offset costs for students in 5th grade that are attending Camp Bob Cooper.
Seconded.
Okay, Mr. Smith, second. Yes, go ahead.
Is that a typo? Because it says student, but I'm assuming with the amount of money that it's students.
Where do you see the typo?
It threw me for a minute. I was like, why would we be involved in a single student? But I'm assuming that's a typo?
But yeah, on here, it's on the agenda, it says students.
Right, but on the form that was
I mean,
submitted.
$7,000. I looked up this camp, honestly, to see what it was. And 7,000 would be covering multiple students. Yeah.
Yeah, on the application. So I
Yeah.
just thought I want to make sure it was for students.
And the purpose of the camp is, camaraderie building, or what? Do you know what it was? It didn't really say. It just seemed like it was used by a lot of organizations. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think it's multiple students from. Yeah. All right. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Hey, I.
All right. And I would like to thank the National Christian Foundation for their generous donation.
One of the issues is I don't take paper. And so the only PDF I had didn't have both documents, which also I think caused some confusion because when I looked, unless maybe something happened on my, but I just want to make sure that for those of us who don't use paper, we get the same stuff that you guys get.
All right. Ready? Continue on.
Madam Chair, I move that the Board of Education accept the donation from Deborah Davis in the amount of $10,000 for the Greg Davis Fund to Bluffton High School.
Seconded.
All right. Discussion? No. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Hey, I.
So the motion carries unanimously, and thank you to Deborah Davis for her generous donation.
Madam Chair, I move that the Board of Education approve the 2025 school board meeting calendar.
Second by Mr. Dallas. Any discussion? All right. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Hey, I.
All right, I think everybody voted yes, so that's approved. Now we're on to the one item pulled from consent agenda by Mr. Smith, OE 10, communication with the board. Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
And at this time, I will go ahead and make the motion that we go ahead and accept OE 10. If I can have a second on that motion. Thank you.
Okay. All right. It's being voted on separately, not as part of the consent agenda. And do you have any other, okay. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Hey, I.
All right, that's approved. So now we need a motion to approve the consent agenda, which is all the items listed minus OE 10, since we just approved that. Okay. Ms. Boatright made that motion for the consent agenda. Mr. Dallas seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Hey, I.
All right. That's approved unanimously, the consent agenda. Next, we have future agenda topics. All right, we'll let our new board members participate with that. Dr. Rodriguez, do you have any
I do.
announcements?
I do. I have two announcements this evening. First of all, I want to just make an announcement to our community. We have been reading scripts in school following the Thanksgiving break regarding cell phone policy, just as we did at the start of school, which is a really good practice that the state of South Carolina is trying to adopt for all of its other schools. They like what we're doing, and they are sharing that with other places. But if you recall, in our interpretation of the legislation when we began the school year, our interpretation of that legislation was not at all day long for elementary and for middle school. But for high schools, they had the opportunity to use it at lunchtime, okay? Subsequent to that, sometime in November, I think, early November, the State Department of Education put out their interpretation of that legislation for implementation beginning in January. And their interpretation does not allow it in high schools at lunchtime. So we have been informing our students, and we have been informing our parents, our students. And what we want to do now is make sure we're informing everybody, putting it on the table and on the record that in January, when we come back, high schools will be just like elementary and middle schools, where it's not allowed at all during the day. They can have it on them, put away in a bag, but they cannot take it out and use it at lunchtime anymore. And so we've been communicating that. We're going to make sure our parents are getting that information, and we're just publicly stating that here right now. And then in addition, the AR is going to change to account for that. So that's one announcement. And then the other announcement I wanted to make was just to thank our three board members personally. Dr. Guads, thank you for your leadership on the board. It's been an honor to work alongside you as a superintendent, and you've served as a chair for almost all of those years that I've been here. And you've been a wonderful chair and just a tremendous asset to this board. Ms. Middleton, I recall our first conversation talking about the things you were looking forward to on the board and the support for our schools. And I thank you profoundly for the support that you have provided along the journey during your years on the board. And Earl, you've heard it, and you might be getting tired of hearing it. You're going to keep hearing it because you are so much appreciated for all that you have done over all the years of service. And for each of you, if you know, I have challenge coins that I provide for great things and for great service. And this is the new challenge coin that we've been giving out. It's got our school district logo on it. And on the back, it says, this is our moonshot moment. It's got a picture of the moon in the middle, and it has 75, 75, 92, our aspirations, and where we're headed on our strategic plan. And I know that from whatever it is you're doing after your time on the board ends, when the new board members are inaugurated, or whatever the right word is. Seated. Thank you. I know that you will continue to stay in touch and continue to provide input and support through the public and through everything else in terms of our school system, because I know that each of you are champions for our students and for our school system. And so thank you each very much.
Thank you. The last meeting before our holiday break, I would like to wish our students and staff wonderful holidays, and please enjoy your families and friends, and stay safe during that time. We are now on to our second public comments, and we have our first speaker will be Mr. James Miller, and his topic, imagine this, is band, a story to tell.
Everything that you and the district are doing. I see it in little bits and pieces, but I have a story personally to tell. And that is, you may not, I need to give you a little background. At the end of the marching season, the Bands of America, the Bands of America have a national contest. It's in Indianapolis. This year, it attracted about 113 bands over 3 days. Bands came from Idaho, Florida, South Carolina, Indiana, all over. They are made up of all different size schools. Some schools were less than 300. Some were 7,000. But it's a major accomplishment to say you worked in that, participated in that situation. I'm going to try to eliminate pronouns because it gets a little personal. But during that time, I was able to stream the contest to one of our schools. And I mentioned to the students that they may see a judge that had worked with them in the 7th grade. That judge happens to be a former band director. He is on the national stage. He does consulting. He lived here. He's now moved, but he lived here because his wife is a primary breadwinner. And I mentioned to these students that were in 7th grade at the school, and now they're in freshmen, to pay attention and see if they see him judging. As I was watching the students, I saw one student totally engrossed. I couldn't have interrupted him in any way, shape, or form. I said to him, "You go to school?" He said, no. I said, where did you go? I went to school. I recognize that school. It's an Indiana school. And he would have been in that band. And when I told his teacher next day about the situation, she said, he's unmotivated. His parents forced him to be here.
Thank you.
But because there was a disruption over here, can we give him another 30 seconds? Because he was interrupted with some, he thought Dr. Rodriguez was coming in. So I don't know if you saw, can I respectfully ask for him to finish his story in 30 seconds?
I don't know what else to say, except that it was left a very deep hole in my stomach to see the student that would have been motivated and is now wanting to quit. It just, I ached for 2 or 3 hours after that.
Thank you. Next speaker is Crystal Simmons Dockery. Her topic is bullying in the schools. There needs to be better systems put in place.
Thank you for allowing me time to speak on this subject. My daughter is a 9th grader in the district, and this past Friday, my daughter attempted to commit suicide in school due to bullying. I found out while the ambulance was on the way to the school to get her that there had been a no contact in place, but I was not informed. And I feel that if the school deemed it serious enough to put a no contact in place for students, that they should at least notify the parents. This is the second time that they had put in a no contact in reference to a situation. The first one had to do with inappropriate sexual contact when a male student tried to throw himself on my daughter in the hall. I was not contacted. I don't know what's going on in the school, but it's unacceptable. With the bullying, I asked the school what took place, what made her do this. Did she speak? Did she tell you anything? What broke her to make her attempt to commit the suicide in the school on that day? They immediately tried to come up with excuses against her family, but did not take any accountability with the bullying that she was complaining of even on that day. That when the ambulance had gotten her in the ambulance, the police officers immediately came up to her godmother, because I wasn't there due to my situation. They immediately went up to her godmother and said that the incident was due to bullying. I had to ask probing questions from the staff members to ask them what took place. Did she tell you all about a certain, about any specific children who are bullying her? That's when they finally leaked and said there was a no contact in place. Very unacceptable. I'm very disappointed. My daughter right now is in a psychiatric ward. I'm grateful. I'm grateful to God that my child is still here. She attempted overdose. She attempted to overdose. For anyone who knows about medication, some medications you're not supposed to go past 3 in a day. They said my daughter took between 15 to 16. It was nobody but God that kept my child here. At first, I wanted to say something, but I wanted to get her consent first. I didn't know she would want me to publicly say it because it is a humiliating thing, but I'm a grateful parent today. And she told me, she said, "Ma, I want you to attend that meeting because I want you to speak out to get other people help who may go through this or who may be going through it." So for her to not be selfish, to not even say to call her name or to tell about her, but she said to get other people help. I think that's something real big. Please, please speak to these schools. If stuff is happening to our kids and they're taking desperate measures according to what they have in place right now, why don't we know? And why are the kids still allowed to bully? My daughter has the no contact, but her and the child is on the same wrestling team. How is that being held up? It does not make sense. Please, 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 please put some better systems in place because I'm a blessed parent, but the next parent may not be so blessed. Thank you.
Madam Chair, what that three ladies spoke about, is something that I've also made. I know that overall education nationally and within the state is to make sure that kids who exhibit aberrant behavior still stay mainstreamed. I'm not sure that's a real good policy going forward. And so I think this may be an opportunity for our legislative effort to be energized to take this, how do we correct that and still stay within the guidelines of South Carolina state policy? Because something needs to be done.
So, I guess last time I say, if there are no objections, we'll adjourn by unanimous consent. Thank you to everyone that was in attendance.